discuss the latest then with our international affairs editor, Philip Turle, with me here on set. Philip, what are the main points then of this proposed deal that we know
Well,
about?
I think the question everyone is asking is this just a rehash version of Resolution 1701, which dates back to August 2006 and which was voted by the United Nations to end another conflict between Israel and Lebanon? It appears that it looks a bit like that. This is a 60-day truce. It contains the withdrawal of all Israeli troops from southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is to move north of the Litani River. That's about 30 kilometers north of the border between Israel and Lebanon. And there will be 5 countries monitoring what is going on. That's the US, France, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Egypt. Now, why is France in that list? France is one of the only countries that still does actually talk to Hezbollah. That's something that the Israelis are not very happy about, but it appears for the moment that is an agreement that is holding. What we're looking at here, which is a bit more concerning, is that despite the behind-the-scenes work to get this ceasefire off the ground, there's still many clashes taking place in southern Lebanon, and also projectiles being shot into northern Lebanon by Hezbollah forces. We've seen 250 projectiles since Sunday, and the southern suburbs of Beirut were targeted by 3 waves of Israeli bombings yesterday, Monday. So it looks like, as far as both sides are concerned, they're trying to inflict maximum amount of damage on each other before this ceasefire comes along, and that does push one to ask the question, is this ceasefire going to hold for very long afterwards, or are we just looking at something that could be just made to try to placate both sides to restore calm, but with a very uncertain future? This is the map of the area. You can see the Litani River there in light blue and the border in dark blue. That is the area around there, which is where most of the conflict is taking place. But remember that Israel has been bombing parts of Beirut, which is much further north. And I think there's a big push by the Lebanese authorities, who really want this all to come to an end, to get this ceasefire across the line.
Yeah, so what are the signs then, Philip? As you say, it's all very well to sign this ceasefire, but it's got to hold, hasn't it?
Well, I think there are certain reasons to be cheerful and others not to be particularly cheerful, or rather pessimistic. The first one is that, as far as optimism is concerned, Hezbollah has been seriously weakened as a result of what's been going on since September. Remember already the attacks against walkie-talkies and pagers, which blew out basically all of Hezbollah's communication system. Then the beginning of this border war on the 30th of September, which has been dragging now on for almost 2 months. So Hezbollah is seriously incapacitated. They would really like to have a ceasefire, and Israel's army is really exhausted. It's got 2 fronts, one in the Gaza Strip, the other one in southern Lebanon. It needs a bit of respite to rebuild its capacity. So I think that those are 2 of the reasons that this ceasefire may hold. But on the more pessimistic front, is Hezbollah really keen in respecting this? Remember, back in 2006, Resolution 1701 called for Hezbollah to move north of the Litani River. That has never been respected. And as we were hearing in that report, Itamar Ben-Gvir, the far-right nationalist security minister in Israel, has also said that this ceasefire deal would be a totally ridiculous, a major mistake, a missed chance to eradicate Hezbollah. So are we looking at something that's going to hold or not? It may hold for a while, but in the long term, is this going to be something that's going to be a viable ceasefire and move towards peace talks? I think that's what everybody would like, but there are a lot of questions being asked as to whether that's possible.
And I heard you mention Gaza. I mean, still no sign at this stage, Philip, of any kind of ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Well, you see, Stuart, we're talking about 2 very different situations. The situation in southern Lebanon is between 2 different countries, between Lebanon and Israel. So there's much more international pressure to find a solution to end this, certainly from the Lebanese. Remember, the Lebanese are not as powerful as Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they're the ones who are subjected to most of this Israeli military might. So they really do want this war to come to an end. When it comes to the Gaza Strip, you have the hostages involved in all of this. That is a serious problem for the Israeli government to obtain the release of those hostages. We have all these casualties we have here, 44,179 people killed, including 17,492 children since the start of hostilities on the 7th of October 2023, 104,000 injured, and more than 11,000 people are missing in the Gaza Strip. I think Also, it has to be said there is a lack of willpower on both sides to end this conflict for ideological reasons in Israel about the future of the Gaza Strip, the willingness by the far right to want to rebuild settlements in the Gaza Strip. That is a bone of contention and a no-go for many in the international community. The willingness by the Israeli authorities to crush Hamas. And on Hamas's side, they still want the eradication of Israel. And that is something that they will continue fighting for. Remember that most of the Hamas leaders now are not even in the Gaza Strip. They are in Qatar or elsewhere overseas. So they don't really have much concern for the dozens of casualties that are constantly victim every day to these bombardments. So we're in a much more complicated, difficult situation in the Gaza Strip than maybe the one in southern Lebanon, which is also not easy. But I think if any ceasefire is going to be signed anytime quickly, it's more likely to be done in the southern part of Lebanon than in the Gaza Strip, although there is a US Special Envoy, Brett McGurk, who is going to Saudi Arabia today to try to discuss how to use the Lebanon ceasefire as a catalyst to end the hostilities in Gaza.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Philip Turle, International Affairs Editor here on France 24.